the process of developing a systematic approach to managing money is, in a lot of ways, what you do is you use systemization to help create leverage. So instead of coming in every day and saying, well, the yen's, PPP is this, and the interest rate differential is this, and instead of having to like recalculate that in your mind every day, which is stupid because like computers are pretty good at that. And what you could do is you could just take that data in, process it based upon your, by and large, your existing understanding, and start with something that is a pretty good representation of how you would think about what's going on in the world. And then I think the main thing that creates, there's all sorts of reasons why you want to do that, because it creates discipline and it removes the emotion, and you're not getting hung up on the news of the day and all those things that are frankly like intellectual. They're problems of human nature that need to be resolved through discipline, and systemization is an effective discipline, right? That's its most it is leveraging and disciplined, and those are the two most effective things that it does. But necessarily, there's always things, the world is evolving, your understanding is evolving, your thinking is evolving. So there's always things that are incremental that could get better in that understanding over time. And that's really what that process is, which is you see what's going on in the world, you see how you think things are playing out, then you see how they are playing out, and then you're constantly going back and forth and observing things you may have missed, you may not have understood, things like that. And that generates questions, and from questions become, ideas of what are the other decision rules that should be used, and from other decision rules that are being used, presuming, they're good, which, to be clear, the vast majority of people's intuitions are bad. They're not good, just so that people have that understanding. Yeah. Particularly if you rigorously assess it, it is bad. Like 80% is bad. Like if you have a 200 or 300 hit rate on incremental ideas of how to trade markets that are good, like you're a world-class investor, just to have that in your mind. And so that's what that process is. And the observations and the writing of the stuff, in a lot of ways, is just talk about the discipline of trading. It's also the discipline of wrestling with whether the views make sense or not. That's what the writing is, right? Is that discipline of saying, I am actually going to sit here and I'm going to look at that stat and I'm going to look at what I think is going on, and I'm going to compare those two things. I'm going to say in line with what I think, out of line with what I think, incremental insight or understanding about it. And that's a lot of what you see me do on Twitter. Like in some ways it's like a little boring, which is like, University of Michigan confidence survey comes out. I think it should look like transitory Goldilocks. Okay, what does it say? Well, it ticked up in essentially the growth part of it ticked up and the inflation part of it ticked down. Okay, check, consistent with my understanding, put it aside, move on, right? That's what the process really is all about.